isinkwa awufaku jeme awufaku rama awufaka umasabufa isinkwa.
Ever noticed how when you're having a bad day, feeding off everyone's negative energy, how your day ends up even worse? Perhaps negativity attracts negativity. Today on Changing Lives, we're joined once again by Dr. Masemola to really find out what happens to your body when you are negative. Tanya, let me positively leave you to it.
Thank you. Welcome back, Doctor.
Thank you for having me again, Tanya.
So depression, obviously, is something that has been incredibly exacerbated since lockdown, since COVID came up for us, and since we've gone through all these dynamics in our lives. So what is the actual effect on our physical body of depression?
I need to first highlight how stress also negatively affects the body, especially if it's in a continuous and sustained manner. That is your chronic stress. So when you are in that state, you do put yourself at a very high risk of developing illnesses, physical ailments. They can actually occur. For example, in the heart, you can develop a number of heart diseases. You can also develop diabetes because of the sustained release of cortisol. And with depression, it affects your mood. Your mood is constantly low. And the worst thing that can happen during depression, the complication being suicide. So we really, really don't want it to go that far. But because we live in a sustained, stressful environment with COVID, it creates a lot of fear, it creates a lot of anxiety. And with that environment, we need to be cognizant and aware of our emotional well-being. We need to really look after ourselves. And it's not great because we are in a sustained environment of isolation. We need to be in quarantine. We need to be separate from our loved ones. We are not in touch with them. I mean, generally, naturally, we are social beings. Human beings are social beings. We want to be with our parents. We want to be with our families, our loved ones. We want to have fun with them. But because of this stressful environment, unfortunately, we can't avoid stress. Stress is there. We need to deal with it. We need to learn to cope with it. And in this environment we are in, with depression, it's quite problematic. And we need to try and not be unhappy. We need to just be in an environment or in a space where we are aware and conscious of our emotional well-being.
Okay, absolutely. So what I would like to ask you, if we have a phone call from a loved one or a friend and they tell us that they want to commit suicide, what do we do?
Number one, you need to listen and not be judgmental. Different cultures deal with stress and depression in different ways. It can be quite challenging for family members to have someone that is stressed or that is depressed and they are suicidal. So the best thing to do is to not judge them. It's to not wish away what they said. It's to not tell them it's all in your head, it will go away. Depression is very, very real, and it's a clinically diagnosed illness. And there's medication that you can take to help you with that. And there are specialists out there that can help you with that diagnosis. So you just need to be aware and to be caring and to be understanding and accommodate your family, your loved ones' emotional state, and also make them aware. They must know that it is something that is very real.
Absolutely. So what we need to also be very aware of is that people mustn't try and counsel someone who wants to commit suicide because they have no skill set for that, right? So we need to make sure that if someone says that they want to commit suicide, that they immediately get given help and assistance. So I would agree with you, no judgment, but it must be an immediate handover to a healthcare professional to ensure that that person's life isn't in an unskilled set of hands, right?
That is 100% correct, because the consequences of depression and untreated suicidal ideation, suicidal thought, it leads to actual suicidal action. And that leaves a very devastating effect on families. So it needs to be treated and handled by professionals.
Absolutely. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us on our show again.
Thank you for having me.
Isinkwa